on. So much is going on, but
So much.
Oh man, so much is going on, but I'm blessed. I'm blessed.
I will say that everything else, I am blessed. I'm here. We're here. You're here. And Team King Colton James Hodges here. How you doing, sir?
Oh
And
my
everybody
gosh,
who's
the
in the
full
bushes,
pronunciation.
everybody who's in the bushes. We were off last week because it was Thanksgiving, and we just didn't want to go live on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, we were
But
eating.
we're here today, and we have hey Ellen, and we have a lot to talk about because all of this Diddy shit that's going on.
Oh my
To the
gosh.
point where, like you just pointed out, nobody's even talking about Will and Jada anymore.
So that's what I'm going to open up with, because I feel like it's so hilarious to me how, like, I went to go update, like, like our topics, or whatever, and I was just like, oh, we were talking about Will and Jada just 2 short weeks ago. Like, everybody was, but I'm not saying, I'm not indicting anybody here, but it's really interesting how all of a sudden something was bigger than that. And it was like, okay, what? Like, but of course, this is definitely bigger.
I mean, because that's
But
how it
it
usually
was just
happens.
odd. I was just like, what is happening here?
Look, that's how it usually happens though, because it's like that here on YouTube and in the media cycle. It's like, okay, this is what we're talking about. If you don't hurry up and talk about it, something else is gonna take place of it. And yeah, Ellen said Will's friend interview with Tasha. Yeah, that interview was crazy. Okay, I was just sitting there like, I can't believe she was still letting people come on there and say stuff as defamatory as the stuff he was saying. But then I felt like dude was credible, because I was like, nobody really came out and said that he was lying. They said that I did see somebody say that Will denied the Dwayne what's his name?
You was going to say Dwayne Wade, wasn't you?
I was.
Dwayne Martin.
And I thought I was right for half.
Look, I was about to say it too.
But yeah, so they was talking about they denied that, but I didn't really see anything else. They said they were going to sue, but that he's coming out with his book that is going to have QR codes in it to support whatever he's saying. So I was like, wow, but that jump was crazy. That was crazy.
It's some crazy stuff happening.
Fourth quarter.
It's some crazy stuff happening a lot of places around here. I was going to say up and around here. I'm literally floored at the things that have taken place or like have been revealed since the last time we were here. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I'm not even surprised no more. I wake up and be like, what are we gonna have happen today? What's gonna happen?
It's crazy the way that works. It's like, oh, nothing is shocking anymore to you?
I'm not gonna say nothing is shocking, but I'll be shocked, and then I'll be like, but why am I shocked?
But why am I shocked?
Yeah.
Whole time I just okay, so anyway, all right, look, let's start off. So yeah, I was just making a by the by comment about like, oh, it's funny how nobody's talking about Will and Jada anymore. But yeah, I do remember when that was top of mind, when just that short week and a half, 2 weeks ago, when Tasha K was talking about it. It was all online. People were, they were going to sue. There's all these things happening. And then the Diddy news hit. But anyway, before I go there, I wanted to give a shout out to Megan. What's her name? Megan Ashley.
Oh yeah, yes. I watched her latest podcast too.
Okay, because I just want to show this because it's right here.
Wait, are you talking about? Hold on, let me see you talking. Let me make sure I'm talking about the right person.
Yeah, you probably are. I was listening. I was listening to her podcast. So she's like on episode 3 at this point.
Colton, huh? Team King Colton. I was just talking about.
Hey y'all. Oh, sorry, I'm on the wrong. I can't even see that. I wasn't even looking at that. I was looking at the pictures that I had put up there for we gonna talk about later. But anyway, I've really been enjoying this podcast. This is like very refreshing. It's like calm. It's pretty chill, but she's talking about like some real stuff. I can relate. But I will say this. At this point, it's pretty clear to me that that relationship was severed on, like on terms that were not, ideal or what have you. I don't know. I can't speak for them, but
I still don't know exactly what happened because I didn't watch the whole full episode of when they were talking about it, because I guess they went to therapy or something like that. But I do like her podcast, and I feel like she needed to do this. She needed to she needs to do that. And I'll just keep it right there because I don't know what happened, but I can just imagine.
I can just imagine too, and I think this is good. I think this is good for Megan Ashley for sure. I like this look on her, and I saw B Simone, a clip of her doing Earn Your Leisure. I don't know like what the environment was as far as like I don't know if it was on their podcast if they have a new set or if they were like how they're just involved in everything. So I don't know if they were doing like a special for somebody, like a sit down. There's all these artist to artist interviews or like content creator interviews where like Rolling Stone lets two people sit down or whatever, right? So I didn't know what it was, but B Simone's looking really good. She's she's thriving out here, and I wish the best for them both. But I definitely am and I'm definitely enjoying this podcast. I think it's a breath of fresh air. I'm so glad that she's just doing her thing. Like, it's nice to see people in their element just doing their thing. You know what I'm saying? And being authentic. So, yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I when I actually started watching her latest episode today. And the first thing I thought was about you. I was like, this is probably Faith's jam right here. Like, Faith probably loves her podcast. And I was right.
Yes, I do. I was like, oh, this is great. Okay, now this next story is a little bit more intense. So this lady posts, like, I guess you would call it like comedy skit content. And she, like has her husband on there. And in this clip, she's basically explaining that she's gonna stop putting her husband in her videos because these women are getting in his DMs. And she's like, and the thing that they're saying though, this is very disrespectful, I have to say. They're in her husband's DMs talking about, wow, you're a good father. You're a good husband. And she's like, I know. Why are you in his DMs? Let him be a good father.
Right. Why aren't they putting those comments out in the open? It's like, why are you in his DMs? Because that looks crazy.
And it's wild. I mean, the type of content, it's like, I don't understand. Like, why would somebody reach out to somebody's husband?
You know what? Why ask why? This is the culture that we live in. You know what I'm saying? This is why a lot of people keep their relationships off of social media because they don't want that, to open up. Because I mean, think about it. Back in the day, you really didn't have access to everybody. You know what I mean? And now if you see somebody you like and if you're bold enough, you could actually reach out and be like, hey, what's up? They can not answer, but I can just imagine how some of these DMs look. Okay. I can just imagine just seeing some of the people who are out here, male and female. People are bold these days. And the other reason why it probably is still happening because some dummy is going for it.
Oh, some dummy out there is taking the bait.
Hey,
like,
Ashley,
what are you doing?
Y'all make sure y'all subscribe to Ashley Aubrey Pod, right? That's short for podcast. Anyway, she has some great content over there. If you guys haven't checked her out, check out Ashley Aubrey. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're right. Somebody's out there going for it. And it's crazy because when people try to, and I don't know those people, but when people are trying to do good and you're the one who's like reaching out, trying to tempt them to do something else, it's like, shame on you. What are you doing? Look at yourself.
They're not, no, that doesn't work. They're not thinking about it like that. I used to always say that when, women say that all men are dogs, right? And I used to say, well, some men are dogs because some women are allowing it. So if people are in the DM, it probably is, obviously it's not his fault, but somewhere on social media, there's a husband who's received DMs and went. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so, you're right.
People have to have a better self-accountability for themselves, especially if, it happens all the time, though. That's why people are getting exposed about stuff like that or whatever. But I appreciate that post because it's like, look, stop. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's true.
But listen, everybody says you miss all of the shots that you don't take, right? And people are out here. It's 2023, about to be 2024. And some people just don't care. They just don't care. Like, you would be embarrassed to have that, to have even done that, right? But some people are like, okay, hey, I shot my shot, so what?
And so actually Aubrey says, Mr. Mita Joe, thanks. I love what you said. Why ask why? It's great that you said that, because I was starting to question why. Why would I ask that? Like,
and the answer, I'm sorry to cut you off, but the answer is kind of to me obvious, right? Like, you just said it, actually. You have something good going on, and this person, here they are coming in to try to, what are you doing?
What are you doing? So that's interesting. But anyway, that's that. Okay, we're gonna.
What's her name? What is it?
Tana Ann.
Tana Ann. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll definitely make sure you get the.
I should go.
It's just Tana _Ann. But anyway, I'm gonna
hold on one second. Pause. Sorry. Okay. Actually, Aubrey says IG has helped break up some stuff. And then she says, Sweet Tea got herself married to a whole ass doctor. Is she talking about? Are you talking about this lady right here, Tana Ann? I gotta go watch her content.
Oh, maybe they call her Sweet
anyway,
Tea.
My bad. No, she got a lot of beautiful hair. I see that.
Yeah, she's doing her hair in the car. I've been there. I do that. I know exactly what she's doing.
Look, I just need to get dressed and get outside, get in the car, and then I'll fix it in the car and roll out.
She's a runner. She's a track star. She's an athlete at this. She's doing her best work. I mean, you can just tell she don't even need no mirror. She knows what she's doing. Snatch that up. She can put the gel in the right places. She's not no stranger to this. She's
she said Married to Medicine.
Oh.
Okay, I haven't watched Married to Medicine in a while. I really need to watch it.
I do too. I'm watching.
I don't know who Sweet Tea is. I
gotta look. I'm unaware.
I bet you this. I bet you actually Aubrey has a recap or review on her channel. So I'll just make sure that I put that down in my notes to go.
Let me make a note of going to look for that, because I need to see that. All right, let me share this next story, because I
haven't watched that in a while.
There's a lot that goes with this, and I just want to talk about it for 1 second. So Tasha K in the headlines again, and you know what? She does a great job at that. I'll say that. No matter what anybody says about her, she keeps her name out there. I don't know if that's purposeful, but it would seem like that. Like, that's,
I think that's part of her.
That's what you want. Part of her like brand, part of her appeal. It's like,
yeah.
So, but
it's like no, if nobody's talking about her, I mean, if they're talking about her good or bad, that's promotion.
That's good. All press to press,
people
right?
Are still hiring her to do shit.
Well, so in this particular clip, and I'll let you guys go find this from Storm Monroe TV, but in this particular clip. See, this is one of my, I'm not fearful, but this is one of the things that I'd like to avoid if I can. This is Tasha K confronting but in an altercation, like it says, with a trans woman, and the trans woman gets enough energy to stand up and physically challenge Tasha K. And I just think that that's unacceptable. Like, we got to draw the line here. I want to be respectful of people, but like, that's not okay to do anyway. But it's definitely not okay for trans women to be, I don't want anybody handled like that. I wouldn't handle anybody else like that, but that's not safe. I just don't like this at all. I just had to speak out on it.
I agree with that. And I saw that, and I still am stuck on the fence because it looks real. And I remember her going to this event, and I remember her saying that that some stuff happened and stuff went down. I think I saw a little clip on Instagram of her outside or some other part of this altercation or whatever. I don't know. She was calling for her husband up there too. So
yeah.
But she said that, I think I saw the video where she was in the car going, like when she was leaving, and she was like, just talking about it, recapping the situation a little bit or whatever. Now, like I said, I would hope that this wasn't a skit, but I still obviously hope that it, didn't get more serious than that. But I agree with you. Like, you should not, for obvious reasons, right? You should not be putting your hands on a woman as a transgender woman, or anybody for that matter, but definitely not.
Let's not start doing that, people. I'm not saying it's ever happened before, but let's just
even though it's Tasha. Now Tasha has a reckless mouth, and I get it, but that's a little wild. That's a little wild.
Like, here's the detriment. I'm just gonna go on and say it, everybody. Fuck it, we're here.
Oh my God.
You wouldn't even allow certain people to get that close to your body, like to your personal space. And I think it speaks to a level of just like personal, like body space, respect. And I think that it's one thing when somebody who is your peer or your size or whatever sizes you up, right? And deals with you in a way where it's like their strength against your strength. But I think this is unacceptable because now we're saying the spaces are all inclusive, and there's no way I would let somebody that close to my face. I'm just looking at this clip. Yeah. And that's just unacceptable. Like, it's like, you in danger, girl.
I just have to say though, like, and you know how I am. I feel like right there where right there, that is, oh God.
We're not going to do that. We are not going to do that. Right? Like, that's what I thought to myself. As I was just sitting there, like, we are not going to do that.
But it's like, yeah, like, okay, if it was another woman my size, it would be a little bit different than if it was a transgender woman. Like, that's just, I don't think that's cool at all.
This just, you got to be saying, listen, I got to say what it is. That person's size and strength is way unmatched of Tasha K. And that is a threat. She's in danger right there. And I don't think that's not okay to say. It's okay to say, like, that is a strong human being pushing past that big security guard. And for you to be that close to my face, and we're supposed to be in a civilized whatever environment.
How calm.
I couldn't have been that calm.
It's just.
Oh
yeah, I couldn't have been that calm. That's why I was kind of like, was this? Because she has in the past set up situations to look like it was something just to, to go along with whatever interview she was doing and stuff like that. And that right there goes farther than if they were just sitting there talking calm. And just how calm she is to me, I don't know, maybe she's practiced it a lot or whatever, but that's why I couldn't decipher. Is it real? Is it?
Well, if it's not real, then the person that is doing this, if this is a skit, then that person needs to speak up, because they're not helping their movement. That does not look proper to me.
I agree with that. I agree.
So if that's what it's worth it for you to get, and we're gonna get into that conversation.
We're thinking with our brains, right? But I'm just speaking on the terms of Tasha K and how she kind of does some of her content, right? It's a salacious clip. It's like, oh my God, it's gonna get both sides talking. You know what I mean? I haven't really followed up to see what happened about that as far as conversations, but this is just really confusing piece of content for me.
It definitely is. It's hard to process. Okay, so I'm trying to do a good job of just folding in some good, some bad, because we gonna get to talk about what we're getting to talk about now. But I need to break it up a little bit, because
so funny.
It's a really good story. And I wanted to share this because there is good happening in the world.
Aubrey said that's not cool. And then, Aubrey said, girl, she dropped into Dr. G's DM. Okay, so you're saying she got her husband by going into his DM. Okay. But was he married when she went into his DM? That's what I want to know. Anyway, go ahead.
No, that's a
That was
good question.
that was
That's
from what we were talking about earlier.
okay. Listen. Oh yeah, I figured that with the lady with the DMs. Look, I do want to talk about this, and then we gotta get into this other situation. But this young lady's name is Rosie McKee, and I saw this go viral. I thought this was very cute. Did you see that? The video, oh my god! So she played all these characters of The Color Purple, and it was like a funny skit. But she dressed up as all the characters, like in an old suit and a gray toupee, and she did such a funny job. And she was so cute.
And she got a call from Oprah.
Got a call from Oprah. Girl, this girl's about to be on every Christmas movie, and not this year, but you know what I'm saying. Like you got when Oprah come calling, you gotta you're all right now. And she's gonna bring her out to the purple carpet for The Color Purple to come out. She's gonna send them on a shopping spree. And the girl is so funny and talented. The way she did all of those, and I think she's only 9. I don't want to get that wrong, so excuse me if I'm wrong. I don't know, but I think she's a 9-year-old. But she was so funny in that clip. I'm gonna make sure you see it. But she did this whole like rundown and like funny thing where she did it was like the last scene of The Color Purple where they were at the dinner table, and Sophia was back. She was like, it's gonna be some changes around here. Pass me them peas. And like it was all these things happening in that scene, and she was playing all the different roles. So it got to Oprah. And you know what? This is the genius and magic thing about America, or even if you want to just talk about just the internet. It's like the fact that you could create something. See, this is a clip of the video, right? You could just create something in your kitchen or do whatever it is that you like to like play around with or make fun of, whatever. And you can make something and create some content that is so entertaining that it could get to the person that you emulated it after, and they could do something like the fact that that's possible is pretty dope.
Yeah. Especially with people getting discovered on YouTube for singing. You know what I mean? I don't know if y'all remember Dondria, but she was on YouTube singing covers for a long time. Yep. Her and a bunch of other people, whatever. But yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it's a process becoming a content creator. And it's like the one thing that you have to realize is that you just got to be you. You just got to be yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like the fact that she's so young and that they picked that up. The Color Purple comes out on Christmas Day, right?
Oh, I didn't know that.
The Color Purple, the musical, it's a new take on an old classic or a beloved classic, right? And it comes out on Christmas Day. I think I'm actually going to try to go see it on Christmas Day. But yeah, it's a musical. Fantasia's in there, right? I think the girl Danielle Brooks is in there from Orange is the New Black. I think she's from Orange is the New Black. Orange is the New Black. Her is in it. And who else? Is Taraji in it? Somebody else.
I believe so. Yes,
Taraji. There's a bunch of people in it.
You said Halle from Chloe.
And Halle. Yep.
Yeah, so it's a lot of good people in that joint, and I can't wait to see if it comes out on Christmas. I would like to go. I would like to go.
I was thinking I was gonna go and I was gonna buy a ticket or whatever and go see it or whatever. But yeah, maybe we should do that because I love The Color Purple. So
yeah, we should. That'll be okay. So there it is. We said it. Okay, everybody, what we came here to talk about today.
Brother love.
Listen, I'm just gonna put it out there. You know what I did? I spent a little bit of time going back, and I noticed that throughout the years, her face looked different. Like not her face, like she got work done, but like just the look in her eyes. Like she started out so doe-eyed and just hopeful. She was smiling with all her teeth. It was really something to see. It was like, oh, look, she's, I went back to look at like the whole Me and You video, and I have some things to say about that too, but she was young. She didn't know what was going on. And
he got with her at 19.
Look at this young ass picture of her right here.
21? I don't remember.
She was 19.
And he was almost 40.
Look at her. She looks so young and just kind of like doesn't, she's not aware of what's going on. And then look at her hair. Oh, look at what he did. And she looks great. She always looks great. She always looks great. But I just feel like towards the middle, I was looking at pictures and I was like, wow, you could just kind of see her eyes get darker. And then there was a certain point where I didn't see her smile with her teeth. She would just be smiling like with her mouth closed, or she would just be looking like this. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, like, and so, and really the most disturbing thing about this, and if you guys don't know, we're getting ready to talk about Cassie, Diddy, and this whole situation. I think everybody has heard about it so far. I mean, this far. I want to give a special shout out to Plainest Jay and a special shout out to Jessie Woo. Plainest Jay is so amazing because she really breaks things down. She goes and she looks up information. She looks at sources. Who said that? Is it a viable source? She really gets in between the lines and processes the information. And it's like when I get something from her, I'm like, okay, I can believe this. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause that's another thing. We can't just be out here on these internet streets just drinking in all these AI induced. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to be able to tell the difference between an AI photo and a regular photo.
Oh, Lord.
The early stages, people.
Listen, and AI, and I'm going to keep saying this too. They're getting smarter with these scams. They're using AI to emulate people's voices. And I got a phone call today, and I don't know. I was just in the mood to be answering all phone calls today, whether it was somebody saved in my phone or not, just because I'm like, who is this, right? This number has been calling me for a while. And it comes up as scam likely, right? And so I'm like, all right, let me answer it today. So I'm like, hello. And then it just repeated back me saying hello. And I said, ain't that a bitch? Because I saw this thing the other day. It was like, don't answer your phone and say yes, because then somebody can take that and use it and put it somewhere else. And it's your voice saying, yeah, I can't remember the whole scam, but it was like, the whole point was to get you to say yes. Most of people answer their phones like that or whatever, but I still gotta Google that number that I answered, because I'm like, it just repeated back hello, and then my hello and hung up.
It was a hallway of echoes.
But it was a computerized voice that repeated it back.
Oh my gosh!
It was like hello, or it said hello, and then I said hello, and it was like hello. Click. I was like, the fuck was that?
What?
So yeah, I'm gonna look that number up later to see what happened with that. But
I don't know if you want to do that, because now I'm just thinking all types of stuff. Like, what if that was some AI thing calling and record your voice, and now it's got your voice?
Yeah, but if I Google it, it will. Somebody has posted somebody had.
Yeah, and if not,
don't answer that. Somebody needs to scam. I don't know.
Okay, I don't know.
I know, but that's not what we was talking about. You were talking
all right.
about
Brother Love. We're gonna get into Brother Love, and who, aka Batman, aka Nino Brown. Look, let me just tell you something. This guy is dangerous. I am very much, I don't say I'm afraid, but first of all, the fact that he's been dressing this way, it's just like he's been hiding in plain sight all this time. I wanted to go ahead and I wanted to shout out Jessie Woo for another reason too, because she's so talented.
It's hilarious.
She's so hilarious, and I do think that it's time for us to treat things, with humor. We have to just live in these dark times, and I don't think it's beneficial to be so serious all the time. I'm so glad that Cassie got whatever she got. She probably deserved more, no matter what she got. I've heard rumors of 30,000. I've heard rumors of 30 million, and I've heard rumors of 100 million. I hope she got 100 million. I hope she got more. I hope she now goes on to sell her story to Universal and Simon and Schuster and just get all the dollars she can get, because I would not want to go through nothing that she went through.
Yeah.
And I believe her. Believe her 100%.
I believe her too. Because she was so young, and when people get into relationships that young with an older person, like if you're a teenager or you're just 20, whatever, the older person becomes like a teacher, and you're pretty much, you're grown in the sense of your age, but that person knows so much more than you, and it's so easy for a person to, take advantage at that point. Like if my son came home right now and said that he was dating a woman that was 40, I would be like, no. With a 21-year-old,
bring her over here.
But the thing is, it does happen. But this was, just the whole way it happened. was the crazy part. And the other people that he's done stuff to, like, we still don't know everything. And
Right.
I think that people are working overtime to make sure some stuff doesn't come out. And it's a lot of people that's quiet that if it was anybody else, they would have at least come out and be like, this person's a great person. They've never done anything like this. The only people that are coming out for him is Creep Squad. We don't care about what Creep Squad
Which is crazy that nobody's
Peter Guns
saying
and Rich Dollars. No.
those are, yeah, don't come. Don't
Yeah.
come to my hearing, guys. Just stay home. You're not helping. And the other thing is, like, there's people who are stepping up that I'm starting to feel like are aiders and abettors. Because one of the things that is so disturbing about this, okay.
Yeah, because somebody saw a lot of this stuff, and one of the things that civil suit did was it named certain people. Even the people that are named in there, some of them have started speaking out. And so it's just not looking good. It's just not looking good for Brother Love.
I would like for you.
I hate the way he says his name, by the way.
I have a couple of questions for you, just because you were trying to tell me about this years ago, and I didn't. I just was not hearing you or something. But you had told me about how Jaguar Wright would be saying these certain things, and now some of the stuff that Jaguar Wright has said is coming into play. Like, oh wow, I guess she was right about that. And so, one of the things that she said, and I think this is a recent interview, she was like, Cassie, so this lines up and corroborates with the story too, because Cassie left Diddy in September of 2018 after he raped her. Now, a month later, or a couple of months later, because that would have been October, November, Kim Porter died. Mm-hmm. Jaguar Wright is saying that Kim Porter somehow had a conversation with Cassie and told her some information that would be helpful to her, right? And also the way that this case was played out was just chef's kiss. Like, you couldn't do it no better. But I am speculating that Kim Porter may have had some information that got Cassie safe, and then unfortunately she disappeared and was pronounced, deceased. But I also feel like it's so interesting how these things get like hidden or something. Like, how come we can't find this information? You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, I saw somewhere it said that her Wikipedia page, Kim Porter's Wikipedia page was wiped, and they claiming Puffy did it and stuff like that. But these things go unnoticed, not unnoticed, but they get swept under the rug because people are aiding and abetting. You know what I'm saying? I do believe that that somebody probably helped her, and I feel like I mean, Kim probably left information with more than one person about what she was doing anyway, what she was trying to do, because she was about to come out with a book, and she went through a lot of stuff. The bodyguard already spoke on the fact that Cassie wasn't the only one that stuff like this happened to, whatever. It's a lot of people right now that are like, oh shit, like I was there for this. It's like a situation that just random people was probably at certain events, you know what I'm saying? Or witness to what happened at some point in time or whatever. But the thing about this is Jaguar Wright, I remember when she first started coming back out on the streets, and it was just like, oh, she talks in a way that you're like, oh, okay, she knows what she's talking about. She knows what she's talking about. But over the time of her being online, she's gotten into a couple of situations that have like kind of taken her credibility down.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is right about, she's probably right about that. But she probably knows something too. But just like I said, the situations that she's been involved in is kind of like messing with her credibility, because she's just been all over the internet in these different situations and, trying to, I don't know. But that part does make sense. You know what I mean? But like I said, I think it's a lot of people who've seen stuff at certain points, and they may not have seen everything, but they can, and they probably will be subpoenaed to court. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and so this is why and we get ready to go into the
Yes.
clip that you sent me. Yeah,
So
I was
Tisa
watching
Tells,
her.
you watch her.
I was
Okay,
watching
Tisa
her.
Tells is on it because I keep seeing it. I see videos from her like she's doing heavy upload days on this or whatever. She did a couple of lives too. There was also a psychic that was going around viral like last week or something like that. Apparently, 5 months ago, she predicted that, or she said something about that something was going to be happening in November or whatever. I don't know about psychics, guys, but the fact is she did say something about it months ago. So there's that.
Yeah, it seemed
but I like
to be spot on. It seems to be spot on. And I thought what was interesting is, look, man, this shit is crazy. Like, I looked at this Aaron Hall ad, like, okay, let me just tell you what was I thinking about knowing, because all this stuff happened in plain sight. Like, I just remember them being a couple and me thinking that it was like consented, like they were two consenting adults. I didn't even take into consideration that she was so young.
So young, yeah.
And that he was almost 20 years older than her. And the way that document in that court document laid out the series of events, the time frames, the places, the people who were there. It was like, wow, she's really got a lot of information here. Like, it's very highly unlikely that she's making this up, because
I don't think
it's so specific, and she's naming specific people and instances that took place. And it's like, oh, if there was footage, the footage was paid for.
Listen, that's the thing too. He probably has no idea if she has any type of footage, right? But it's like, if you do like civil, if you are going into civil court for a possible settlement, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be able to talk about it later, right? So she had to put everything she could in there, in that document or whatever. And I'm pretty sure she didn't even include everything. I'm pretty sure
I don't think so.
Still missing stuff, but she put the right things in it. And that's where I was gonna say, attorney Simone, she was on Ready to Love. If y'all don't know who she is, she did a podcast with somebody, and they were talking about it. And she gave like a little 60-second breakdown of why Cassie's lawyers were smart for how they did it. But yeah, just, have you seen this clip?
No, I'll play it right now. I hope you can hear it. If you can hear it, give me a thumbs up. Nope, I can't hear it. Hold up. There we go. Let's try now.
They didn't sue just Diddy. They sued his corporation.
They sure did.
And they sued his corporations and sued in her capacity as an employee. When you do that, it triggers commercial liability insurance. Yeah. And it triggers another policy called directors and officers. Okay. And we know he's a director of these companies as the CEO. So now you got two policies. What happens then is it takes away Puffy's ability to settle. It's not his choice no more.
So it's no longer personal accountability. It's his organization.
It's his organization. And it's no different than like if you hit somebody with your car. Mm-hmm. Let's say you have State Farm. Mm-hmm. State Farm gets to decide to settle, not you. You could say, I didn't run the stop sign. That's not true. They're lying. If State Farm says, we don't care, we did our investigation, we're settling. That's it. That's what happened here. So because they added those claims, the corporate insurance carrier got to say, read over it and say, oh, hell no, we giving her the money.
We're hearing you. Diddy's public reputation is done.
It's done.
Yeah.
And if he wants to be able to leave anything to his children, he needs to walk away from all of these corporations.
Damn, he can no longer be the head of his corporations.
Well, remember, didn't I say directors and officers liability?
Yeah.
More than likely, what will happen is those insurance companies, they have the ability to say, we won't renew your policy if he continues to be a director or officer. Her attorneys were really...
Damn. But will they do that, though, is the question. But, you know, I heard about, I'm just going to jump into real quick before because I want to hear what you think about this. But when Tasha K went to court with Cardi B, some people were speculating that she may have had her insurance pay it, right? It wasn't coming out of her money, but they don't pay for certain things or whatever. So I don't think that obviously didn't happen. But with this situation, how I took that was that he didn't have the choice to be like, okay, I'm gonna settle. They did it for him, which makes sense as to why it was so quick. because it was like, you don't have a choice in this. We're gonna go ahead and just pay this out because it could possibly be more if it went to court. You know what I mean? That's how I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
But what do you think about that? What do you think about that?
Well, I think it was genius because, and I actually, and I don't have any sources that are saying this, but it would be interesting with Kim Porter's history of being the executive assistant to Andre Harrell, if I'm not mistaken, at Uptown. And she knows these sorts of ins and outs. And it would be interesting if if that was something that was discussed in that call that Jaguar Wright mentioned. If that was a real thing, I'm speculating.
If it was real, like right.
I don't even know what's up. But I will say this: it was genius the way they went in and did that, because it's no longer a question of, how does this look? And there would be no reason for him to personally settle that quickly. If there would be no reason for him to, that would have to be a hard decision to make, right? For you to.
Yeah, but what I thought was he knows everything that he did, and he don't know what she got proof of. So I would say, yeah, he was like, let me pay.
I'm imagining that some of that stuff. Okay, so first of all, I'm imagining that everything she mentioned in the court documents are the things that she's ready to prove, right?
I would think so too.
Receipts
from all these. But you would be surprised how many people go to court and doesn't have that stuff.
And I'm imagining that proof would allude to other things that are not savory for consumption of public media. If they're not, we don't want those things to get out. And that would be another reason that we would want to settle. I mean, that would corroborate with the idea that, these corporations and their insurance companies are like, oh no, we'll settle now. Right? Like, let's not let this get out of line. Let's not let this become an infestation, if you will, because let's just extinguish this immediately. That's what it looked like to me. It looked like they got some closers to come in and handle that thing, because it was so quick. I've never seen anything happen that quickly. I also will note, and other people noted this, obviously Plaintiff Jane noted, that I've not ever seen a court case with a disclaimer on it for like a trigger warning or whatever. Also, I've learned a lot during this whole session of learning what's going on, that you can't say certain words, or you shouldn't say certain words that they're triggering, and you have to say things differently, which I did not even know until I started listening to Plaintiff Jane do it. And I was like, why don't you just say the word? I was like, oh, you can't even say the doggone word no more. But
especially on YouTube, because certain things, so you'll hear people, you will hear people sometimes say X for like, or you'll hear people say ill or erder or stuff like that. Like, yeah, because YouTube is really crazy on that. But yeah, even still, we live in a society where people are sensitive, and the way that it's going now, it's like you have to be, I mean, it's everywhere. Like, you have to be acquiesce to people's sensitivities, right? So that's, I guess, what it is. But I never saw that in a court document either. I was like, what is
this? This is quite interesting. But I also realized that, like, I think everything that she named were the things that she could readily, or that could readily be proved. And so this is where I take it into the sort of strategy of it. Because if she were to go, I think traditionally what happens is people go for the state case, the criminal case, and they're relying on the state's employees or state's elected officials to pursue and, conquer these criminals that have done things to you. But if they don't have enough motivation, it's sometimes hard for them to do that. And also, I have to believe at this point that he knows and can pay people off. There's no reason why all these adult human beings helped to do this. Not even like they were, I don't know what happened, but I would like to think that they weren't over there, participating in this with intention. It's just like, I think sometimes things happen and you're like, well, that's not my business. I'm just going to collect my check. And
think about this. Let me jump in and ask you this, because we've worked in some situations that were crazy. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, some of those situations were crazy enough for us to be like, I'm out. But there were people who stayed there for years, then just did whatever, you know, they just was like, oh, well, it's not happening to me, or, oh, well, it's not me. I mean, even the bodyguard that she named in there, he had to come on and say that he eventually left because he was sick, and he was sick of like all of the stuff or whatever that Puffy was doing. But he had to stay to pay his bills and eat and take care of his kids. Like I you know, at that point, it depends on what your moral level is of whether you can stand it, right? Because he watched a lot of stuff happen. He tried to stop a lot of stuff and stuff like that, but he pretty much had broke down why he stayed. But it's just like, ugh.
Guys, that's just not. Look,
see, that's why my nickname that I gave him sticks. Okay.
Oh my God.
I'm not even gonna repeat it because I feel like he's probably getting all the karma he needs or whatever. When I first saw the picture come out about, you know, they had the next day his head was in his hands and he was outside talking to his assistant or whatever. I don't know. I'm skeptical about everything. So I was just like, he just wants us to think he's upset. But now I'm kind of like, oh, he might really be in trouble. I mean, didn't he even step down from Revolt or got removed?
He did. So Diddy is now, he has had to step down from Revolt. I'll bring that up right here. And also, he has been uninvited from the Grammys now. All right, now here's one thing I do have to say, because when something like this comes out,
I think Carisha off Revolt too.
When something like this comes out, you crazy. When something like
I think that's it. That they was like, he stepped down and Carisha removed.
When something like this comes out, you have to think that,
please,
you know, other people can say, anybody can say anything about him right now, and I'd probably believe it. It'd be like, yeah, you know, Diddy like chasing chickens too, and it's like, what? I believe it. He would do something like that.
Listen, just like your mother used to say, you hang around certain people and they get involved in something, it can get on you. And now you open up yourself to be blamed for almost anything.
Yeah, because it's like what they say, you are who you hang around. And that's not always, well, listen, I don't say that's always true, but at the same time, like these people, like you gotta have a certain type of stomach to like see some of this stuff happen. At one point, the court documents was talking about how he beat her so bad that his assistant, his security were crying when they saw her. I believe that, and it's just like the way that could happen to a person and they still not be protected. One of the things that was super disturbing when I really thought about it from another angle was that she was doing all of this in front of the world as a stage and still felt not safe enough to come out and say something. Like, you imagine that you're showing up to a red carpet where millions of people will see your photo and you can't say what's happened to you 5 minutes before this. You know what I'm saying? Like type shit like that. It's just like you're trapped. And I thought about that.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's it. That's what I want to say.
I feel you on that. But it makes me think about people who are in similar situations that aren't rich people. You know,
yeah.
Like so many people stay with people who do stuff like that and abuse them. And yeah, the people around that are involved are always mad at the person who did it. But if you're a child and you can't get away from it or whatever, in her case, she wasn't able to go away because when she would run away, he would send his henchmen to go get her and bring her back, which is crazy because like, I'm trying to get away from you. You know what I mean? They had to know though, that eventually some of this stuff will come out.
I don't know if they knew. I don't know if they knew.
No. I mean, maybe not while it was going on, but I'm saying over the years after it happened, especially when all this R. Kelly stuff started coming out, I bet you people have been scared for a long time.
Yeah, it's a lot of people scared. The people who are scared are coming out in his defense, and they're saying things like, "Well, all she wants is money." Yeah, I'm sorry. Look, I'm confused.
All she wants is money from a civil suit. Nobody gets locked up from a civil suit, people.
Those people are telling on themselves. They're telling them themselves, they're saying, hey, you know, people shouldn't be in trouble for stuff like this.
Especially
guys.
Because Young Jock had that, there was a clip of him talking about, I guess, why Cassie shaved their head, right? And the way that he came off in that jump was like, oh, you know, what Sean wants, he gets, or whatever. But then after it started going viral, he came back and did another video and was like, I wasn't saying nothing, you know, trying to basically backpedal or whatever. But like I said, it's just probably an operation, cover this shit up. Destroy whatever you can that you have and just cover shit up. Like that, who knows? I just feel like a whole bunch of people are going to be pulled into this because names were mentioned, people are speaking about it, and people are way too quiet. What you so quiet for?
Why?
Oh, you know what? Let's interject for a second. Did you see the video of T.I. and his son?
Oh my God. Yeah, no, I didn't see the whole thing because I just refused to watch it.
Okay.
But tell me about it. Let me see if I can find it now.
Apparently they were in like a restaurant, I guess, or something. They were somewhere.
Well, did he put him in a headlock or something?
Yeah, I didn't see the headlock. Like I saw the whole tussle thing or whatever, but like he basically, you know how you talking, like people are drinking and somebody's talking and y'all related and you start bringing shit up that they don't want you to bring up and they get real mad about it. That's how I felt King did. But like, if you look back at him, like he's been off the chain for a while, but he basically was telling T.I. he was lying, he was capping, and he was like, I know you. And I was just like, this is crazy, but that was bound to happen too. I feel like that was bound to happen too. I don't know what's going on right now because something happened with this club promoter or this person or this club owner. T.I. must have confronted him because he used a picture of him and his son or something like that. I think it might have been from the fight or whatever, but that jump was funny to me. I don't know. And now somebody's posted, like the internet is really crazy, okay? Somebody is posted, and I don't know how true this is, so this is allegedly, but I thought it was funny, so I'm going to say it. And it's sad that I'm about to laugh at it, but somebody's saying that they're now saying that he isn't T.I.'s son, which I think he looks like like T.I., but they had this picture.
Oh my
God! I don't know how true that is though, but you know, shit. I guess it'll come out if it's not. You know what I mean? But I feel like King would be the type. Well, he might not know, but I feel like if he knew, he would say something about it. But
let's just take that down.
He looks just like his mother. That's all I think. But I hope that's not the case because I do know some people who didn't find out that they had kids until later on in the game, or didn't find out the kids weren't theirs until later on in the game, and that's not right. So, but
yeah, I never agree with anything like that. I feel like people should, just be honest and truthful and let people do what they need to do. But okay, listen, getting back to this Diddy situation. Now, something came out about Aaron Hall. And let me just tell you how my silly self was like, Aaron Hall from the 90s? No, he wouldn't do that.
That's how crazy stuff was back then.
I forgot.
Happening and stuff too.
It reminded me of this one time that your Aunt Val, was talking about Tia going to some guy concert, and she was like, "You ain't going to no guy concert. He's singing all these lyrics, whatever." And we were of the age where we were like, "But that's the cool song. Like, what is she still tripping about?" But it's like, if I had only known that he was talking to people like this, let me just tell you something.
Well, he said it in his song too. He used to have that behavior in his song. Like, "Let's Chill" had "Dumb Bitch" in it.
Yeah. It's so funny how I never paid attention to some of that stuff. When I saw this and I listened to what he was saying, this was so disturbing to me on so many levels because
that was disgusting. He's a dirty old man.
These men who sit out here and talk about women like this, and it's like they're peacocking and they're saying like, this is how I like to do women. And they're talking about women like we're a bag of body parts. Mm-hmm. And I just feel like, these are the type of people who I mean, this is just so distasteful. There's so many levels. Like, this is despicable. Like, you obviously have no interest in impressing women and loving on women. You want to peacock to other men to describe the control that you have over women, to describe your prowess and your ownership of other human beings. It's so odd to me. And even the whole Diddy situation of like some of the things he's been accused of over the last few decades, and also how similar it was to the R. Kelly situation. Like, we talked about how there were rumors that he peed on somebody. I think that's something. There's a couple of things that were like sort of weird similarities. They were sort of like, hey, Gwendolyn, there's weird similarities. There's just little nuances that were like,
Carisha say that Diddy pees on her?
Yes. And I think there's something to that. I think there's this really sinister element of like taking a pretty, like, powerful young woman, right? And I really looked at this industry and how disgusting these men are. You know what happened with Aaliyah and how young she was, and how
parents consented to that, which is
these men be out here preying on these teenagers. And I've just felt so bad about the fact that I didn't even notice it.
I mean, but think about it though. Like, yeah, but back in the day, like that was closer to the time where people used to get married at 15. You feel what I'm saying? Like a man would come calling and the person, like, that wasn't that far off from that back then. It was only like 30 or 40 years, you know what I mean? Where men were taking wives that were young, you know what I mean? So we probably didn't really like let it register because we were just like, oh, it's somebody, you know, singing and they're famous or whatever. But I think it's disgusting.
He is disgusting.
Listen, I think it's disgusting that any dude will watch another dude have sex. Like, what are you doing while he's having sex? Like, what is happening right here?
Like, why? Like, what's the purpose now? Right? Like, oh, this is what we're doing here. Like what did you come to do? It's like, I like for other people to watch. It's like, why? What is going on with you? These things were so disturbing to me. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what is the end goal? Who's the audience? Who's the like where's the reward coming from for you? Like, is it from the men to say, yeah, good job, we needed to see you do that?
See, that's crazy.
I just understand, but it made me realize too that like there are people out there who you know, I want to think that he's so out of touch with himself as a human being that he thinks that, you know, or at least at this point when he did this interview, that he thinks that it's okay to treat other human beings like that. But, you know, honestly, it's probably not the case. I'm probably, you know, these people just are so disrespectful to just.
I mean, to think about it like this: if he's talking about how he was getting down, and that all the dudes that knew him or hung around him at that time know, and they seen him do it, what are they doing while it's going on? And if you're willing to go that far, I feel like there's no end to how far you go with the despicableness. Like, who knows what happened at those places? Like, if he's talking like that at that age, right? Back then, he probably had no respect, or even a little, you know, less respect than he has now, or whatever. But like, I could just imagine what happened to some people in those situations, you know. He's a dirty old man. That's all.
He is a dirty old man. You
right
know,
along with Dingy.
Right along with Dingy. You calling him Dingy now? I think that it's very upsetting that this happened, but it also just really, you know, it really reminds me that we just put so much emphasis on, like, well, I'll say media and what we consume, right? We put so much emphasis on people being, I don't know why. Like, I'm not shocked that he's capable of this sort of thing, but I was kind of taken aback by like the fact that that happens right in front of us, and like people are helping him do this. You know what I mean?
The thing. Like, in order to stop something like that, the only person that could do that is another man, right? And what happens is, it's just like people in situations where, you know, you got the guy that always cheats on his girl. Are his friends going to just keep the secret, or are they going to check him about it as a man and be like, hey, you shouldn't be doing that, or I don't like the fact that you're doing that. Yeah, he ain't got to stop, but he know that he can't bring that shit around them. So I put some of that stuff on men, because if you were hanging around him while he's doing that, and you hear the way he's talking or whatever, and you see how he's treating these women, and you didn't say anything to him as a man, I mean, that's your job. That's not our job. And a lot of men are out of control because they can't be checked by another man. And I don't mean the man got to beat them up, but if you have a real man that does something and another man comes to him and has a conversation with him about it, that if they're two real men, they could agree that, you know, you're going to leave or you're going to not do that around me. Right. But it's nobody, obviously everybody was either scared to say something or they were down with it. That's how I'm looking at it. I don't know how else to look at it. I mean,
I don't know how else to look at it either, because it's one of those things where you have to really check yourself if you participate in something like that. Like I think it was you who told me about Capadonna. I'd seen her. Her name was Capricorn something. I can't remember her.
Yeah, Capricorn. Name. But you got her name right on her Instagram. I mean, her Twitter. I think it's Capadonna.
Well, she was like, you got to be able to walk away from the money, full stop. And it's like all of these people, and this is what makes me call him Nino Brown. Okay, let's put this back up here. I feel like this guy was Nino Brown right in front of our eyes on some Tony Montana stuff, and I literally was looking at Cassie like she was Michelle Pfeiffer in Scarface. Because she was taking all of these lickings and kept on ticking. She showed up. She's beautiful. She's doing the drugs. She's doing whatever she's being asked, and she's still being beaten. But like this type of stuff right here, like I can't even believe that. I mean, he looks like Batman right here, and people allowed this to happen. And they kept coming back to work every day. It's like, I get how you could get caught in a. But you know what? Let me take this down and talk about this. People are legitimately, I could see, afraid of him. So obviously he's doing something that's...
It's happened to more than one person. I mean, remember, I want to hear from Lorianne Gibson. What's her name? Lorianne Gibson, the choreographer, because I saw that clip floating around again from when they was doing, I think they was doing Making the Band or something like that. And she was supposed to help them choreograph something, and he thought she was going to do it.
He was like, at this point, maybe I need to get another choreographer.
Yeah, but then they showed a clip of when they went back in that room, and it was like a lot of commotion or whatever. We didn't get to see what happened or whatever, but the streets are saying that him and Michael Bivins jumped her. I don't know. But I don't know if it was that exact scene, but there was a lot of commotion and nobody knew what was going on. But she, like, I hadn't seen her with him since then or whatever. But then there was like, then you got Capricorn, like she was his assistant. She actually was like the person that helped launch Ciroc, I believe. You know what I'm saying? But but like, I wonder what happened to her. Like, you're not only doing this to your woman, you're doing it to people who are actually trying to work with you, around you. But that comes from nobody checking that. Like, everybody was just down with it. But like, money will do that, because if you have somebody's livelihood in your hands, you can make them do a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Or make them just kind of just, I don't know. You got to be able to walk away from the money. Full stop. Pretty much like she said. I mean, and then where's Farnsworth? Where's he?
Okay, let's talk about a couple of things that were pretty weird. I remember an interview with Usher, where I remember when Usher came out and he was around Puffy. Then I found this old clip of Justin Bieber before he came out. He was like in Diddy's custody. And it's like, what is really happening here? I actually feel like he had built such a network of people around him that were all just a part of this grand scheme. And I also feel like this is why one of the reasons for her to go in one and done with that lawsuit would have been wise, because you don't want to be out here for 3 to 5 years pursuing someone criminally when you can go in like an espionage individual and exert what you need and get out of there. I think that if the way that she did this, there should be an investigation prompted by the NYPD, by just different, wherever she named things happening, Miami, you know, everywhere that she named in her lawsuit, people in those law enforcement areas should be pursuing investigations.
Unless they're on the payroll.
Unless they're on the payroll. And if they are, let me go ahead and get my money and get up out of here. Because I don't have time to be fucking around with y'all for 3 to 5 years just for nothing. If you wanted to press charges, you would have done it when my face was bloody. Now here's
the thing is, she couldn't have done that though. Like the ultimate say is from the criminal I know what you're talking about. Like, in order to press the charge, like they would have to, like
it's
you
like
said,
the DA or
would have to be like, oh, let's look
there's
into
a case here. There's
right.
And most of the time, they base that off of whether they feel like they have enough evidence. This has been so many years later, and
whoever like the prosecutor is or whatever.
Yeah, the prosecutor. One of the things I want to point out is like when you're 19. Okay, first of all, if this isn't some regular podunk relationship in West Virginia, you know, I'm not trying to put down West Virginians, so sorry, but it's just like, let's say you live somewhere outside Pennsylvania, who knows, or outside DC, and you go to, you know, you go have drinks with George every day after work, and then George starts beating on you. It's like, you know, not that many people are going to be involved or care, but you can escape George. Right? Like you can just not go back to that same bar, you know, live with your aunt in Maine for a few weeks. Like George ain't going to be able to get up there. You know what I'm saying? But when it's somebody like Diddy, who's your boss, who has taken over and bought your car, your apartment, walked your parents through your apartment. Like, yeah, I'm going to say, you know what that says? I'm going to take good care of your daughter. Don't even contact us. I feel like that's one of the things that abusers do too, is they oust people. So I feel like she was not, I feel comfortable saying this because she stayed there for so long. She was not prepared to take adverse action on him while she was there. She felt like she didn't have any power, and that's why she stayed.
Not to mention, it didn't start happening right away. It didn't start happening until like 2 years after they had been together. So once it sounds easy to be like, oh, you put your hands on me, I'm out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In some situations you can be that. You can just cut it off or whatever. But it also depends on how you process stuff too, because what's normal to you might be abnormal to somebody else. Like for instance, I always got an analogy, but your nephew was talking about we were talking about how people talk to people.
Yeah.
And it was like asking me, why would somebody say whatever to somebody? And I was just like, you think that's weird because people didn't grow up calling you little motherfucker and whatever. You think it's weird for people to call you out of your name because nobody was doing that to you. That's how it should be. But people who grew up with their parents calling them little ugly and you little whatever, like they'll take certain other things, especially in a relationship. Like if you get into an argument and somebody does something to you or whatever, like you might be like, nah, we're not having that. But somebody might be like, this is what I witnessed growing up. And this is probably what love is. I must have made this person mad. You just never know how people process it. And the fact that it started happening 2 years in and she was only 21, he had already taken over all of that stuff. It's just like, you know, she had to have help to leave, I guess, because like I said, he would go and get her. He would go and send people to go get her.
And even people like lawyers who would say things like, it's in your best interest to contact
people he was paying, who probably didn't even want to do it, but they let the money talk to them. You know what I'm saying? And I believe that a lot of people probably fell for that, because it was like, if you got somebody in a bind, we watch it on these series shows all the time. You got somebody in a bind, they can, make you do certain things. You know what I'm saying? And he, at this point, probably has his hands in stuff that we wouldn't even know about. Like, we wouldn't be surprised that this was on his payroll.
I wouldn't be surprised. And there's a such thing like, you don't grow up in New York and not know some people. I feel like there was a good reason for people to be cautious about what happens. If you think about the relationships that he's had with other people, did we watch that when you were over for Thanksgiving? Uptown's Kicking It. Okay, that video.
My video.
That is about like 1986, 1987, something like that.
Yeah, the quality.
Think about the quality of that joint was trash.
That is so. I used to love that.
But Uptown's Kicking It. Like, we was so into that video. But you know what? I feel like look, I went back and did some studying on what happened with the fall of that. Uptown was actually going under, but I think they staged a coup because it's really weird how they were signing deals for like licensing deals for like movies and stuff, and then somehow something slipped and they weren't able to like make their books right or something weird like that, and they lost out on some things. But then who had just signed on trademarked a new label, Bad Boy, and all the acts that were on Uptown as Uptown or MCA Records, they were subdivision by MCA Records, but like everybody who was like kind of trying to jump off that ship jumped onto Bad Boy. And it was like interesting because Diddy, I wonder if that was why he got fired. It's like, oh, you've been, anyway, that's
but imagine this though, like now we are about to be in 2024, right? All of these from that point when he started Bad Boy, look at all the people who he's lost around him. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God.
Weird to me. That's weird to me. I just gotta say it. So I definitely, I believe Cassie. I believe Cassie, and I believe it's a lot more people that could speak on it that probably just don't want to open up the door, but we probably won't understand why, because it's not about just like, oh, what's right and what's wrong. I can imagine a lot of people have gotten caught up doing some nefarious things and they don't want to be outed or whatever. But I believe it. And we'll see what happens. You think it's the end of Diddy?
I don't think it's the end of Diddy. Unfortunately, guys, you got to hear me out here. I'm not rooting for him or anything like that, but I think that people are going to let it go because they're more comfortable with the familiarity of Diddy than they are. And nobody really wants to be picturing that this could happen to someone, right? It just means we failed as a society. And I don't think people really want to believe the full truth that like we allow people to do this and we help them do this. Like, go ahead.
It happened to, okay, I'm not going to say that, but
I want to know it.
A lot of people are going to join in on this. I feel like it's going to be a lot of people. It might not be, the people who we think that it should be, but because if there were these people, there had to be others in all of these years. At some point, when people do stuff like that, at some point they just get comfortable. And this is how I operate. You feel what I'm saying? At first, it's like, oh my God, whatever, help me fix this. And then it gets to be, well, nigga, you know how I roll. You feel what I'm saying? And I think at that point, and he just was always like, he's just in his element now. Don't think that he can be touched. And he was touched. And I feel like even the stuff that he had, these artists that he never paid, how they feel about it.
You know what? How you do one thing is how you do everything. Let me just tell you something. I have entertained this in my mind because I've just been rolling this back and forth in my mind because I'm like, how could this be happening? And one of the things that I had entertained was that, there's a realm in which he's the victim, like he's the sick one. If he did this to someone else, then how sick must his mind be? And I clearly just fucking dropped that shit because I was like, fuck that nigga.
Nah, but I mean, that's it. He's sick. That's it. I mean, but that doesn't excuse him from none of this shit. No.
However, here's what's odd.
And the crazy thing is he got daughters.
Here's what I think. I think he thought he got away with it. I think there's a level of me that feels like when she came back, first of all, it was only just a year ago where he gave her a shout out on some show when Carisha was right there in the audience. And that was the thing that kind of got me. Carisha's in the audience with a sign talking about how she loved her man or whatever, this little sign. And he's shouting out Cassie, talking about, thank you for holding me down during the dark years. I think that was triggering.
Okay, speaking of
flying low for a bit. But when she heard that, she just jumped out of bed like, what? So, you taking me for play?
Just because we just hear about it don't mean that things haven't been rumbling in the background.
Absolutely.
Right? So I feel like he probably knew that some shit was coming, right? And that was a thing to be like, keep holding me down in the dark times, bitch. You know what I'm saying? Love. I hate that. But it's like,
no, I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off. Go ahead, finish with your thought, because I got something to say.
No, I want you to finish.
Here's the thing that I think is interesting. He said that it could have been for the reason you're saying, but I almost feel like it was more sinister than that. Like he was being sort of taunting, like, yeah, and I think he felt like, so you got to think, like, if he was as high as they describe, he doesn't remember some of this stuff. Some of this stuff is coming back to him fuzzy. Some of this shit is like, oh yeah, I remember that night. You know what I mean? And then I thought about the idea that at one point she's running down a hallway, he's throwing a vase at her, there's glass shattering, and she decides to leave and then decides to come back and apologize so that she could have a normal, like, she's like going to the condo that he pays for, like probably waiting for him to just bust in on her. So when she comes back to the hotel, the security there tells her, no, you got to get away from here. We saw the video footage. You're in danger. You in danger, girl. And then she leaves back, but then the footage gets paid for somehow, is what the documents describe. But it's like, with that sort of thing, I have to think that he doesn't remember everything that happened. But one of the things before I realized, like what Simone was describing about the corporations and stuff, one of the things that I had imagined in my mind was him getting word of this lawsuit and being like, no, you're right. I fucked you up. Like, let me get you your money. You're like, you know what? I remember that was a hard time. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're right. I owe you that. And I mean, listen.
Here's why I doubt it. Because we only know certain things, and it probably got a lot worse. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like the things that are out,
so disgusting.
He knows that he did where he may not remember everything, but she's not the only person. It's a lot of other people over all of these years, right? So like people in that situation, to me, I feel like if he was gonna settle, it was because he didn't want to go to court, because when you go to court, everything could come out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Out. So yeah, I don't think he wanted that, because we would have been all reading Jane would have been over there breaking down the court documents,
refiles,
what happened. You know what I'm saying?
All of that. Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think that, just the way that he said that, just Cassie, thanks for holding me down in dark times. Love, nigga, no, he said that because I feel like he knew eventually, because her boyfriend or her husband, is she married? Is whoever she's with
married? She's married with 2 kids.
Going at Puffy, so he's been saying stuff too. So like I said, I think he probably felt like that law. I think he probably felt like something was about to happen with that. I just don't know what the date of that lawsuit was or whatever, but I'm not giving him no passes, but I feel like people who are in those situations after a certain amount of time, it's like being kidnapped. You are just trying to survive in what you think is your normal life. You know what I'm saying? And you don't know how to get away. In that situation, this is your lover, right? Your lover. And your boss. And your boss. And everybody seems like they're in cahoots. Like, even like I said, we have no idea who's on the payroll.
Not even just your boss. This is what I really want to say. It's your boss. It's the owner of the corporation. It's also P. Diddy, right? Like, no one's gonna deny him what he wants. P. Diddy, like, he could pay for people to do stuff. He could fly people places. He could get people fired. He could make decisions. He could
blow up your boyfriend's car.
He could blow up your boyfriend's car. He could keep your single from coming out on the radio. He could tell the cops that there was no evidence, and they would say, okay, there was no evidence. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a Diddy. This isn't George from the bar. You know what I'm saying? So sorry to all you guys out there named George. But you know what I'm saying? Like, this isn't no podunk town where, you could just go somewhere and get things right. This is P. Diddy, Nino Brown, a.k.a. King of Bad Boy, Don't Stop, Won't Stop. We see what he was doing to these band members. They were trying to make the band. And he was doing these other things to her behind the scenes. It's so disheartening that somebody can treat another human like this, let alone somebody who I was supporting in a way by it's not like I bought all the Diddy.
Never know what people are going through, for real, because this is not the only situation, and he's probably not the only person.
But I would say this is the time for people to support Black women, and many of the times, But like, just believe her. I don't think people should be out there talking about, you know, whether it was a money grab or not. If somebody did that to you for 10 years, I'd hope that you'd get compensated as well. Because
I mean, yeah, but you're thinking about people who are speaking from a perspective that know shit that we have no idea about, right? I feel like everybody should have a right to say what they need to say because we need to see who the idiots are as well. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
your guns and rich dollars, you know, we needed to hear that. But
dying to hear what you guys had to say. I feel waiting.
I was just like, shut up, y'all.
Like, what in the hell? Anyway, I think that that's a telling sign of people when they do things like that and they come out and they're on the wrong side of history, because it's like, that's what you had to say? You coming out to defend, you're not coming out to say, and shout out to Jessie Woo, because she said it in one of her videos. If you're going to come out and say something, come out and say, this was wrong. Men should not treat women this way. This was wrong. I cannot believe that this happened to this woman. I do not stand with this, right?
You can't say that. You can't say that if you've taken part in it. You can't say
that if you're waiting for somebody to come out against you. You know, but I mean, listen, I'm not saying that about those two people we mentioned, but it just strikes me as odd that that's the thing that you have to say in something like this, and you won't even acknowledge that this is wrong and people shouldn't do this. But also, again, we're talking about Nino Brown, so
I mean, because like I said, if I ain't even gonna get into that, but yeah, that's it. That's it.
I wish everybody the best.
I'm gonna keep watching Tisa Tells because she always has some good information. Plaintiff Jane broke down the court documents, and she always has like background information on other stuff too that I didn't even think about.
She is so thorough.
But yeah, and she's thorough, and I think Nika at Night also reads court documents about stuff like that too. She has stuff to say or whatever. But you know, Jane go through that stuff with a fine-tooth comb. But if I don't know what else we're supposed to talk about next, but I really want to make sure I get in my thoughts about Squid Game and Ready to Love. Have you watched Ready to Love Make a Move?
I have not, but I do want you to talk about it. Okay, so while we're here, just want to shout out the Plaintiff Jane. This is the Plaintiff Jane channel. If you don't know about her, go ahead and check her out. And there's another person that I want to talk about after you talk about which you're talking about. The Squid Game, you said?
Yeah, you want me to do it now, or you want to talk about the other content creator first?
Oh, I'll talk about that. And Ready to Love, I have not watched, but I plan to. There was, what, episode 8? Is it almost?
They're about to be on episode 8. We just passed episode 7 last. What's today? Oh my God, it's Friday? Today's not Friday.
It's Thursday.
You're good. It's tomorrow. Oh my God, my week has been crazy. It's episode 8 on tomorrow.
I just like this. I'm going to talk about this real quick because something that's positive. I really like this lady and her content. Her name is Alicia Renice, and she, she does music and stuff. I didn't know about her music before. I was just like watching her videos. She has a podcast called Black Girl Creative Podcast, and I think she has like an initiative called Black Girl Creative, but she's like into like music and art and stuff like that. And one of the first things that I ever watched from her, it just came up in my feed. I didn't know who she was, but it was talking about feeling like you're behind in life. And I had watched it. It came up in my feed after I watched somebody I was subscribed to talk about something similar. So it's probably the algorithm that brought me to her page. But I really appreciate the content that she creates, because it's like when you talk about, just being, people talk about being positive, whatever, but when you focus on something, as they say, what you focus on expands. I appreciate the fact that she's focusing on loving herself, loving other Black women, understanding and processing like through situations and emotions and thoughts. And so that's a lot of what her content is about. She's just like breaking down her thoughts. Like, you know what? I thought this, but then I was like, why would I think that when this and this and that? It's like, yeah, I'm so glad somebody said that out loud, because that's what I think too. So like, that's the kind of content she creates. And she's always just like smiling and just talking about, just like really good topics. It's not just like some old foo-foo, like be positive and keep your head up. It'd be like, hey, this is probably, you know what I mean? Like what you're thinking and why are we thinking like that? So it's really cool. I really like her.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check her out.
Yeah, I really appreciate her content. I feel like there needs to be more content in that area, and I appreciate the work she's doing over there on that.
Shout out to her. What's her name again?
Alicia Renice, the artist.
Alicia Renice, the artist. Okay, I'm gonna have to check her out. Shout out to her. We love positive content over here. You know
yes.
But I'm gonna have to check her out. Is it time for me to get into like the reality TV commentary?
Yes, go right ahead.
Okay, first of all, why have you not watched Ready to Love, Make a Move yet?
I don't know. I had some other things going on. I do fully. Okay,
well then it's a good.
I fully am ready to watch. I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna watch.
Oh, you just sent that to me. Okay, listen, you are gonna like it. Okay, it's really good, and there's some things that we have to discuss because certain things are happening. There's like certain people on there, like the certain situations. So I can't wait till you catch up so we can discuss. So you could just catch up by the end before the reunion, and we can discuss it. But it is pretty good. So that's all I'll say about that, and I'm not going to get into it because I want you to watch it. Now, this other one, I don't care if I spoil it for you because you can still watch it and get the same effect. But did you ever watch Squid Games on?
No, James is just getting on me about that.
Did he watch it? He watched it?
Yeah, okay. He watched it.
So did he watch Squid Game, the challenge with the real people?
So, okay, this was the little weirdness that we got into because I was like, I never watched Squid Games, but I heard that they came out with the Squid Games like sort of game and they're simulating people getting shot. And I'm thinking like, why are we making ourselves accessible and used to this type of behavior? It's going over the heads of people. I never even saw the original Squid Games, but I was like, this is what they were saying the whole time, that like, we're so normalized to this and like, this is, how societies operate. And he was like, oh, but he's watching the other thing. And I'm like, don't watch that because that was the whole point, wasn't it? But I never saw it.
So I watched the first thing against my better wishes because people just kept talking about it. And I said, let me see what this is about. Now, I will say it did keep my attention. It was good. It was kind of jarring that people were getting actually eliminated in that series. And I thought it was strange, but it's not. It's like not that it's not. It's not in America. It is. It was like a whole bunch of like Asian community or Asian people, right? So it kind of was like, all right, let me watch it or whatever. But I felt like at that point when they put that out, they were like, oh, Americans in the world likes reality TV. Let's get in on this or whatever, right? And then they made this challenge or whatever. Now, the Squid Game, it was good. Now, it is, like I said, it's jarring to watch that because people are actually dying. But I was really shocked to see that there was an actual reality show based off of it because I was like, so what are they going to do to eliminate people? And I was like, people are actually getting fake shot and like simulating dying. Now, what we know about reality TV is that it don't just roll like it roll when we see it on the camera. These shots, they have to go in and get the shots. They have to go in and take the picture of you getting shot, and it takes a long time. So you're posing, you're holding these positions or whatever.
No.
I think that's pretty wild. Okay, I did a video on a couple of things, and I mentioned that I was like, people are actually simulating getting shot and dying now.
I don't like that. You know what? Let me just say this because it's so ironic that it's at the same time that we're being cautioned not to say words. It's like we're so triggered by words that we have to mask our words with essay and a great.
Well, that's over here on YouTube because they can strike it.
Also,
they can demonetize you.
Also, just even when addressing people and using pronouns and things like this, it's like we have to be so careful when we speak, but we're being exposed to simulations of being shot and people actually being shot and wars and like we're seeing things, dead bodies, and we're seeing dead bodies.
I mean, listen.
On film, on social media, and on regular mainstream media, more than we ever have before.
This is the thing I want to have to say. I mean, I have to say, yes, more than we ever have before because we have all of these different capabilities. Back in the day, we didn't have a lot of cameras to film stuff when stuff was happening. Sure, a lot of shit still happened. We have more people now, and all of that is stuff is still happening. But you've said it before. America was built on violence.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. There's the movies are getting worse. But this to me was just like wild that people would actually go do. Like, I don't want the universe to see me getting fake shot. I'm sorry. I'm a watch
I don't like that.
because it was like a scary movie. It's like a scary movie that you couldn't turn your eyes away from. I just was like, okay, I have to admit the fact that the people were real people, and this thing is diverse people, and it's like I won't say it wasn't good. It was good. It was good, but it was just like, and they playing for real money. But it's just like how I just couldn't do that part or whatever. But it's some social media people. It's I also want to say that some of the people that they got, I didn't believe all the stories. It seems like it's really scripted to me. There are elements where it's not scripted because you see the same things that you see in other games is like as far as how I feel like people take the Black women, right? People were, there's this one lady in there that I cannot stand. I can't stand her, okay? I can't stand her. Her name is Mai. If any of you watched it, Mai is so fake and manipulative, and she is so fake that.
Tell us how you really feel.
Listen, I was like screaming at the TV on this episode because in this episode, like, they have to eliminate people sometimes. They have to. The whole point of the game is it's a series of games that we played in childhood, Red Light, Green Light, Tug of War, stuff like that, right? Marbles and stuff like that. And each scenario, certain people get eliminated. Now you gotta, like the red light, green light, you just have to be able to obviously stop and go when you're supposed to. This little doll turns his head around or whatever. And in the series, people actually got shot if they was moving, right? But in the challenge, they are getting shot, but they aren't dead, right? They just have to.
But the thing explodes in their shirt.
I think they're getting shot with paint guns. I don't know. Maybe they have
like
something
that.
Maybe it's not a paint gun. Maybe it is something that just explodes. But okay, yeah. But it's not really okay. Yes, that part weirded me out because I couldn't see myself being like, oh, I'm gonna go play this game and like that. I would have rather them do some type of other elimination, but because it was behind the show, they had to do it like that or whatever to make it real. But to make it better or whatever, I guess. Or
no, I'm gonna say this right now. I've got to say this right now because if we're being like normalized to seeing things like that, not even just on our TV shows, but like even with the wars and stuff that are happening in Ukraine and other places,
you got the video games, Call of Duty.
They're showing like even sometimes they'll blur something out, but you could see when they pan out that that it's not blurred out now. Like those are a bunch of bodies, right? And then we're seeing people like carry their loved ones' dead bodies in their hands, and it's so normal now. We never used to see that on the news.
No, we never used to see it.
But
that's a part of us evolving, I guess, because there's a lot of people who want to see what's going on in the world. You know what I'm saying? But back to the show, I'm not saying that I'm not saying that it's good. I'm just talking about it or whatever. It was $4 million on the line. Tasha K should have probably went on that show.
Yeah.
It was $4 million on the line. And these people actually, like, just like in the movie, the series, I watched the series and I was like, damn, these people in the series were desperate. They were trying to do something to win this money because they were desperate, right? This situation, I feel like it's not so much because you actually all live in the world. Some of you have like thousands of followers on your YouTube and Instagrams or whatever already. So, but they all are most of them are people who wanted to be on game shows and stuff like that. But I will say, even though I disagree with that, like I just wouldn't put myself in a situation where I fake had to die.
That's never a good reason.
No, but that's just me. But you have a lot of people who feel like, oh, I'll do anything in a game. It's a game. You feel what I'm saying? So my view is not that way. I'll watch it, but I wouldn't go on it. But So it's I think 9 episodes in. They got one more episode or whatever. Cameshia Reviews is actually interviewing a lot of the people that were on there. She got a bunch of those members that was on there, and they are spilling the tea on what was happening behind the scenes and how they was getting these shots and how it was going on, like what their experience was. So I thought that was pretty good. The interviews probably are going to be a lot better than not a lot better than the show, but they're probably going to be an extra caveat to people if they watch the show, because you get to actually, they edit it out a lot, right, as usual. But she's getting down to the brass tacks, if you will, in the interviews. She interviewed, anyway, you don't know the people, but there are, some Black sisters on there that I was rooting for or whatever, and one of them almost made to the end. But I'm talking about that lady Mai. Mai she used to be she used to be an investigator for Department of Defense or federal government. I don't know. Anyway, she's an immigrant adjudicator. That's what she was, right?
Oh, okay.
But anyway, she, at some point, it's just like you playing your game, and I know they don't know what's going to be aired as far as, what they're saying, but I feel like in this day and age of reality TV, you have to know there's always hot mics, and you have to know they're going to pull out some of this stuff. So she this one guy, it was a Black guy named TJ. People was picking him as the leader, and he was, just demonstrating himself, or he was presenting himself as the leader, right? But a lot of people did not like him. And so when he was about to be the leader for something, a lot of people were like, oh yeah, you're the leader, we trust you. He was like, do you trust me as your leader? And the group of people he was talking to said, yeah. But then you had these other people who walked away, was like, he's not my leader, and So this lady Mai goes over to one of the other guys. It's like, he's not my leader, he's just this and he's just that. Then the next episode, they show the game they had to, or the elimination they had to do, was they had to pick a captain, and it was him. He picked somebody, and then everybody who he picked had to pick somebody to save, and whoever was left got eliminated. Now, the one thing I did like is that the women came together. Okay, at this point, they were like, listen, we all got to stick together because they're going to try to vote us out or whatever. And they were like, okay, if y'all get picked, then y'all just start the train. A woman pick a woman, pick a woman, pick a woman.
Okay,
and there was some people in there who fucking fucked it up. It was like, why would you do this? But all the women ended up getting picked because some of the men that they picked the woman. Oh, so I did like that part, because I was like, okay, that was what's up. But the lady Mai, she was the first person, I believe, that TJ picked, and he was like, I got your back. And then they go to this other guy. He was like, I just saw her talking about how what she thought of him and this, that, and the other, and he's gonna pick her first. And so that happened. And then there was this glass bridge game where they had to walk over these 2 rows of glass, right? And one of them is breakable glass, and one of them is sturdy glass, right? So they had to, it was 17 of them, they had to figure out how they were gonna all get across this bridge without everybody dying and falling. So they decided that everybody just has to go once. Like, if you go and you pick something good, bet. Now we know that's fine. Then the next person overtakes you and makes the next choice. Now, they did lose a couple of people that way, but because they weren't relying on one person to make all the choices, I guess, But there was this one girl named, I think her name was Ashley. She was a sister, and she was like, I didn't agree to that. Like, y'all just go, because she wasn't, the people who were in the back, like the last numbers, they weren't gonna have to worry about being eliminated, because
everybody who had to go first had to sacrifice
the chance. Yeah. So it was a bunch of people that didn't make it or whatever, but when it was her turn, she was just like, don't be looking at me, I'm standing right here, you go. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But the dude that was in front of her, he went, and then that's the thing, if you trust somebody else to make the decision for you, they might, she had to end up making the decision anyway because he picked the wrong glass. But then she was able to go to obviously it's this one, and then she had to make a choice, and then somebody had to come and overtake her. So she did good, she made it past that point. But the lady Mai was like, she didn't like the fact that she wasn't trying to go. And you know what I'm saying? She was like, she's not a team player, and right? So they all get across the bridge and everything. Everybody's excited. And then Mai just had it out for her, trying to get her eliminated each time or whatever. So then she finally ended up having to have a conversation with her because one of the guys that she was cool with was friends with the girl, Ashley. And so she was like, I need to go apologize. So she went to go apologize to Ashley. And I love the way that she had, I think her name is Ashley, but she was like, yeah, we could talk. And so she was like, yeah, you know, I wanted to talk to you or whatever. I didn't know, I forgot how she started the conversation, but the girl was like, yeah, I was just trying to figure out why your ass is not, you know, why you acting like this. But she was like, the way she said it was so funny. She was like, yeah, but you didn't, she said, what did you see? She was like, you didn't take a jump. She was like, but I did jump. She just didn't jump at first. She let the dude go, but then she had to go. So the lady must be
ended up taking the loss anyway.
Exactly. So she was like, but I did jump. And she was like, well, I didn't see it and I apologize or whatever. She was like, all right. So they smoothed it over, but you know, it really wasn't smoothed over or whatever. But the lady just presented herself in such a bad way. Like, I feel like I haven't even looked on social media, but I feel like they're about to be eating her up. Right. And so
well, I think the thing about it is that.
Think about it is on a reality show, we're going to see this aired on TV and this is how you're going to look. So,
but I think those people get
so mad
more, they get more, you know, views or something like they're after something else. You know what I'm saying?
It's okay. So the people some of the people that I have on here are just like odd birds. Okay. Some of them are content creators, but some of them are just like regular people, and they did have confessionals where they told some of their whatever their stories were, because I feel like it was heavily scripted, because some of the stuff was just like, okay. But I just don't understand at this point of like the year 2023, you going on a reality show and you feel like you're going to be able to sneak and do something. Like, so she has a very hard, I can't wait to see if I guess Kamisha might interview her. Because she just, I'm waiting for her to say that they really edited it bad, because she just was like, you didn't like TJ, you was talking shit about him and he saved you. You didn't like her, whatever, she didn't even do that to you. And now, you know, it was just like, oh my God, lady. Because they had to play this dice game. And this is the last thing I'm gonna say about it, but they had to play this dice game and they were all like, okay, at this point, it's only a few people. So when it's a lot of people, it's easy to be like, oh, whatever, whoever loses, because there's a lot of us. But once you start making friends and stuff like that, it gets harder, because they had to do this picnic game. They was like, oh, we finally get some good food or whatever. At the bottom of the picnic basket was these marbles. And that game in the series means that whoever you pick to have your picnic with, it's either you or them now. Because when y'all play these marbles, somebody got to go. So it kind of gets a little emotional for them, because it's like, dang, we thought we was just eating, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so, and now it's a face-off or something.
Right. And so once you get down to the small amount of people, it's just like, okay, now we have to be, we got to have some type of like, what do you call it? Like we got to be fair. Put it that way, right? So they were like, okay, how do we play this dice?
There's got to be a code of understanding of ethics or something like that.
Exactly. And so they were like, okay, it was like, I guess it was like 9 of them left, maybe 11 of them. And they had to roll this dice. And they were like, okay, well, you roll the dice. And then whoever you nominate, if you roll a 6, then they get eliminated. So everybody was like, we're just going to nominate ourselves. But then Mai, with her sneaky self, she was like, well, I'm not voting for myself. I'm going to vote for Ashley. And so she didn't roll she thought she was going to roll a 6, but she didn't roll a 6, so Ashley didn't have to go. But that actually told Ashley, like, look at your ass. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you doing? And so she did it back to her, but she didn't roll a 6 either. But anyway, I said all that to say, it got me interested. I don't like the concept of people playing like they're getting shot, but I will say that the show was good. And if anybody's watching it and you want to see interviews with some of these people, Kamisha Reviews is interviewing a whole slew of them. All right, she probably got like 10 of them up there on her channel now, and they're like little short. Some of them are short, but they have short interviews. There's a girl named Cheney on there. Cheney was a beast. There's a girl named Ashley. I liked Ashley. There was another girl on there. I can't remember her name, but of course I was rooting for all the sisters, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, I don't know. I'm not gonna say check it out, because I can't believe I watched it, because I was not gonna watch the regular Squid Games when that came out, but everybody kept talking about it. I said, let me see what the hell they're talking about. So the last thing I'll ask you if you watched is, did you watch Beef on Netflix?
No, I haven't been watching anything.
Okay, I will say this: you have to watch Beef. Beef is so crazy. It's so crazy. I'm gonna give you a little tiny synopsis without giving anything away, but it's basically showing something about a road rage incident, right? But it's crazy how everything was connected through all the episodes. It was really wild. It just kind of shows you how somebody can just like snap. So I would definitely watch it. It was good. It was good. Okay, it was
Okay,
good.
Beef. All right. I'm gonna watch that too. I promise I'm gonna watch this.
I will tell you, it is crazy though. You're gonna be like, oh my god, like, but it's good. It's not like Squid Games, but it's good. It's good.
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch those 3 things: Ready to Love, Make a Move, the Squid Games thing, and I'm gonna watch Beef. I promise you, because I want to.
Well, if you're gonna watch Squid Games, okay, so you can watch. Kamisha did that. She watched the challenge first, and then she's gonna go back and watch Squid Games. But if you watch the Squid Games first, then you will understand the games as soon as you see them come up. You're gonna be like, oh shit, oh they about to do this. Oh they about to do that. So yeah, it was interesting. I mean, and then there was a lot of people who just took themselves out because they weren't trying to come to a decision about stuff, and it was just you just gonna stand there and get shot.
I'm gonna watch it just because this is who I'm surrounded by. This is our society. So I'm gonna watch it. But anyway, all right, listen, that's it for us tonight, guys. We can't wait to come back to you next time with more topics. I think this Diddy situation is over. Listen, I think that he stepped down. He's not invited to the Grammys anymore. He's gonna go somewhere and disappear for some years, unless he gets prosecuted and thrown into the jail. But yeah, we'll be back with more topics. Did you have anything else to say? Anyone to shout out?
I just want you guys to like the video, share the video, get in the comments below. Let us know what you think about the stuff that we talked about. And we'll be back next week. Bye.
Bye, guys.